Pahang, Malaysia, volunteers provide aid supplies and monetary aid to flood-affected residents. In Hualien, a group of veggie lovers have achieved the milestone of making 100 episodes of live-stream broadcasts. Selamat datang ke Hualien, saya Simon Gan. Terima kasih menyaksikan berita kita. In Pahang, Malaysia, floods wiped out the homes of many people. Tzu Chi volunteers immediately prepared aid supplies to be distributed to the affected residents.
今天要走的路线已经画出来了。那么商店呢，受灾情的就是这里 ，OK， 就是这样红色的。
A flood destroyed residents' homes. Tzu Chi volunteers went to Pahang, Sriwijaya to assist damages.
Many things in the store are broken because the mud has accumulated too much and too thick. I need to repurchase equipment, so doing business will be delayed.
Everything was destroyed. Kitchen utensils, televisions, electrical appliances, and others were all destroyed. We had to save ourselves and our children first.
After assessment, Tzu Chi volunteers immediately mobilized to clean the auditorium as distribution site. Volunteers also follow the pandemic prevention SOP on the distribution site. On the day of the distribution, the volunteers hand over the blankets and consolation cash to the affected residents.
I did not expect assistance from Tzu Chi. Life after the disaster is also hard. The consolation cash can make my life better.
My villager told me that Tzu Chi's assistance this time seemed to come in time.
Seeing your distribution today, I didn't know how to say it. I was touched and it made me feel very warm. Especially after seeing that video, I immediately realized that there is still warmth in the world.
Although Alantan is an affected resident, he knows how to turn from being a receiver to a giver.
This is my donation. With this money, I will help those in need. I lost a lot from this flood, but I can still afford it. I can make up for the loss from my business. I'll donate half of the aid you provide to help a family living in my village, whose family situation is relatively bad. Social workers at the Taichung Tzu Chi nursing home do more than just connecting the caregivers and the care recipients. Today, we meet Yang Shanning, who encourages some of the nursing home elders to volunteer at a nearby recycling station.
This is Yang Shanning, who is 31 years old this year. Her main responsibility is working with the elderly who need resettlement and don't have any dependents. She says that being a social worker is a natural thing for her. This may be her warm personality and her care about others. The activity they arranged for the elderly on this day was to go to the Tzu Chi recycling station.
In fact, this activity is arranged because of the past experience of our recycling volunteers. They come to our nursing home to be taken care of when they are sick. When their health gets better, they mention to us that they actually want to return here to do some recycling.
Grandma Ame used to be a recycling volunteer. She was unable to stand and walk normally because of a stroke. Family members feared that she would not be safe at home alone, so that she was temporarily admitted to a nursing home. Shining heard that this grandmother actually missed doing recycling, and she suddenly had an idea to arrange this activity. When grandmother goes to the recycling station to do this work, she can also help those who don't have dependents or those living in government-funded beds give back to the community. Grandfather Yao Gan is one of the government-funded recipients. He is not married and has no relatives or friends to rely on. He has mild polio. When he was first sent to the nursing home, he was slightly malnourished. Care at the nursing home led him to make a turn for the better.
有讲过，咱这嘛是做国际赈灾的部分。看有法度，大家来做呀。哦，咱若伫内底吼。
Every activity has been ingeniously arranged, working with their hands as a way to slow down aging, which is also a kind of rehabilitation training.
哇，这个你嘛水呢。
The normal job of social workers is to pair the elderly with caregivers and to coordinate with various agencies and government units. As for the women in this Taichung Tzu Chi nursing home, they hope they can do more than this, as every week they will spontaneously design many new activities to make the lives of these elders more colorful and exciting.
GI Tzu Chi Clinic is showing recycling volunteers and community volunteers some care by hosting a free clinic. Today, we take a look at the free clinic at the Minxiong Industrial Zone's cultivation ground, which was led by Dr. Tsai B.
好不好？阿喜，你领刚也可以挂我的门诊，我再跟你解释一下。好。
20 or so volunteers are waiting for their health consultation after their morning recycling routine because the medical staff from Jiayi Tzu Chi Clinic is here.
我们的志工，特别是环保志工，都比较。
Our volunteers, especially the recycling volunteers, are very passionate about Tzu Chi's activities and tend to neglect their own health. This is an opportunity for us to visit and conduct a health checkup, as well as trying to help solve their health problems.
可以帮他们解决一些问题。
These volunteers are very dedicated to cultivating the field of blessings, but they must also take care of their health. The medical team reminded the volunteers to schedule regular checkups as well as the hidden dangers of hypertension and hyperlipidemia.
When I'm nervous or walking, my breathing becomes ragged, my blood pressure rises. This is why when I got measured earlier, it was higher. This is such a benefit for us, as we should have regular health checkups anyway.
Our doctors are very kind because the recycling volunteers are dedicated, and the doctors are here to safeguard their health. As for my blood pressure, the doctor said that I need to be careful about that.
With love infused into medical care, Tzu Chi doctors safeguard those who work hard on behalf of others, ensuring these recycling and community volunteers can continue to protect the planet.
In Banqiao District, teachers from the National Overseas Chinese Senior High School have been bringing their students to the Tzu Chi Education Recycling Station to learn how to sort recyclables for the past 10 years. This has also led to an 80% decrease in the rubbish in the school. After finishing a bottled drink, one might throw it directly into the rubbish bin. But today, students of the National Overseas Chinese Senior High School saw these plastic bottles at the recycling station, which taught them a lesson.
Previously, I just simply throw the plastics into the rubbish bin. Today, I learned that there are so many different types of plastics. In the future, I'll recycle them whenever I see plastics. I'll also share the importance of doing recycling with my peers.
Environmental protection education is not just about learning in classrooms, but learning through practical actions. The students from NOCSH have been learning at the recycling station for 10 years now. Teachers will bring the sanitation leaders from the 10th and 11th grade to the recycling station for practical learning.
We hope to let the children learn through practical actions. Besides learning knowledge, they can bring back this habit of sorting recyclables back into the classroom. Over the past years, the amount of rubbish in our school has reduced by 80%, so this activity is actually quite effective.
Besides listening to the explanation by the volunteers, the students also had hands-on experiences, which benefited them a lot.
When I'm in class, I'll share with my classmates on how to sort the recyclables. Also, when I head back to Indonesia, I can also encourage others to practice recycling.
When we are sorting the recyclables at a station, I saw that there are still food leftovers inside the paper containers. In the future, when I'm eating out of a paper container, I will wash it clean before recycling it.
Besides learning, the students are also willing to practice environmental protection in their daily lives. Here's to hope that these young people can make our earth greener and better. In Hainan, China, Tzu Chi volunteers have been practicing environmental protection for many years and have actively encouraged residents to do recycling in various communities. Take a look.
The Jincheng Luyuan community in Haikou, Hainan, has 2 recycling days every month for nearly 4 years. The driving force behind is Tzu Chi volunteer Fu Qiaoli.
Some residents will find it weird to do recycling, as you won't earn money by doing this, and then you have to spend so much time and energy. To me, I have some spare time and energy, and I think it is very meaningful to do this.
To implement environmental protection from a slogan to a practical action, some residents have treated it as a habit.
These are all recyclables collected from the building of Sister Qiaoli. We will take them back for sorting. Residents will send the recycled materials to the first floor. We will come over to collect every half a month.
Although the residents have a consensus, they will still encounter some difficulties.
Sometimes it is hard to avoid having some garbage in the recyclables, so it's better to have more promotion.
With volunteers' motivation, not only the residents actively participate, but the community committee also supports the activity. A sorting area has been set aside for residents to keep recyclables.
Owing to the motivation by Sister Qiaoli, now everyone here learned to sort recyclables and won't throw them away. As their master told us to recruit bodhisattvas, by doing this, we hope to attract more bodhisattvas to join us.
Volunteers hope that this sorting of recyclables will be implemented in more communities in Haikou, so that more people can practice eco-friendliness in daily life.
In Hualien, there's a group of veggie lovers who share their passion of vegetarian eating through live stream broadcasts. Recently, they have reached a milestone of 100 episodes. Take a look.
This is a special vegetarian buffet hosted by a group of young people who have been promoting vegetarian food on social media for the past year through live streams.
The event this time is that we hope that you bring someone who doesn't normally eat vegetarian food to join us. It's exciting that our audience can experience the vegetarian food that we have shared in the past with us.
To ensure a variety of vegetarian dishes, the group selected 15 restaurants to highlight, and some of the restaurants provided their dishes free of charge in support of exposing more people to vegetarianism.
Seeing so many people passionate about this type of eating makes us very happy to participate in this event.
Besides the buffet, there are also musical acts and informative sharing on the benefits of vegetarianism.
There were many activities today, including music and a talk. We learned some facts about vegetarianism and how we can do it better.
I want to eat more vegetarian food to protect the planet.
It is hoped this buffet helps to encourage more people to safeguard the planet and those who live on it.
In Hualien, there is a century-year-old swimming pool and a Thai power building which have been transformed. Now, people who enter these buildings have a totally new experience.
The sand pool right here is a swimming pool with a history of nearly 100 years. The Huagangshan swimming pool in Hualien was built by the Japanese in 1922. Later, because of the attached primary and secondary schools and old equipment, it has been closed for many years. After the efforts by the city office, it was converted into a parent-child play area with sand put into the pool in 2019.
I saw a lot of children's demand for amusement facilities, so we boldly tried it out. We just changed it into a place that both adults and kids would like to go. And then we hope in the future, many old buildings can be reborn.
Children are free to play in the ocean-style play sand pool. Parents don't have to worry about vehicles passing by or stray dogs. They can enjoy delicious toast at ease. The person taking care of this place, providing meals, is a local man, Lin Genghan, and his girlfriend.
We are young people who came back to revitalize Hualien. Seeing all the heritage buildings, I will feel especially touched. We want to understand the historical background of these old structures and then show their original appearance. We want to show something different, something that belongs to our generation.
In Sincheng Township, there's another old building cared for by Hu Wenwei, who has feelings for old buildings. He adheres to the concept of creating the right space. He turns old buildings into bookstores that lend but not sell. He transformed this old Thai-powered building with an art gallery that invites people from all walks of life to give lectures and is currently holding a photography exhibition of abandoned theaters in Taiwan.
Everything needs the infusion of new blood. Old buildings are the same. It doesn't matter whether it's in cooperation with other industries or other areas. It takes new thinking to make things more attractive and have more possibilities.
From these old and abandoned buildings, we can see the spark of creativity, and through this activation of old space, there is now a new style with flowers now brightening another village.
In Taichung, 96-year-old Tzu Chi volunteer Yu Jingshan has been involved in Tzu Chi for more than 30 years. Recently, due to his health condition, it is hard for him to move around. His wish is to be able to continue doing Tzu Chi works as volunteers help him achieve this dream.
"96-year-old Yu Jinsan insists on going on home visits. His warmth and intimacy can always reach people's hearts instantly."
Is the quilt warm? Yes, we can add blankets if it's not warm enough. Just ask us. Thank you and take care of your heart, and you can do more recycling.
He is over 90 years old. I'm so grateful that he's 96 years old this year.
Looking back on visits more than 30 years ago, he has been overwhelmed by the difficulties he encountered, but his sincere heart remains unchanged.
A lot of times, 4 or 5 volunteers form a group and did home visits from the south to Jiayi and in the north to Zhunan. We brought the children candy and the kids will come out one at a time to get the candy. We tried to measure them for clothes, but they refused. When they came close to us, we visually measured their height.
We learned the way of their heart and mind, their perseverance and compassion.
At that time, the Tzu Chi office grew out of nothing, and Yu Jinsan participated in the whole process. For many years, he was still seen at the information desk every Tuesday.
This is like a second home. In the past, I was very restless in my career. After seeing the master, I felt stable. I have been close to the master, and I'm happy to see what she is doing.
His kindness to Tzu Chi has never diminished. I can feel that kind of sincerity in his whole body and his words.
The relationship between the master and the apprentice has been close to 40 years, and many people believe it may last a lifetime.
In Taiwan, the Shimen Reservoir only has 1/3 of its original capacity left due to silt. Therefore, the government initiated a plan in 2014, building an anti-silt tunnel. Follow a report as we learn more.
In 2004, Typhoon Aries severely damaged Shimen Reservoir. In order to save the reservoir, a project was set in place.
If you dig, you must stretch the tunnel and support it. If you don't, when the rock mass decompresses, things get very serious.
On the day of the interview, dust particles fulfilled the tunnel as engineers sped up their pace. Thinking about the process, Fu Sirong recalled that it wasn't an easy job.
Digging in our tunnel, we have dug about 44 meters per month. It's not high. We have also only dug about 10 or 20 meters.
Though near completion, everyone at the scene knows that the last mile is the hardest stage to complete.
At this place, there's about 600 meters left to dig. We worry about gas leaks, and if the gas has high density, emitting sparks, there will be fire hazards.
At the front, there are coal layers that could potentially cause hazards. Every meter forward, staff members must be cautious. But this issue collides with the water problems in Taoyuan, Hsinchu, and New Taipei City. There's no time to waste. After its initiation in 1964, Cement Reservoir has lost 1/3 of its original capacity.
The reservoir, at its earliest stage, can contain 300 million cubic meters, but now it can only contain 200 million cubic meters, 1/3 of the original amount.
How did this happen? It's because on typhoon days, water containing sand will flow into the reservoir. Due to its density, it sinks to the bottom of the reservoir, thus creating an illusion of clear water surface, yet the bottom contains a muddy stream. This is called a density current, a current including sand particles eventually sinking into the reservoir.
We break through the mid layers trying to get the dense currents at the bottom layer. Foreigners never thought of this method, and since we work with an engineering team, they're able to test the sand removing capabilities of each tube.
Before the density current comes into the reservoir, the system blocks the sand as a 3.7-kilometer tunnel transports the sand through a mud transporting tube, sending the water to the downstream.
We set up a sand pump dredger at the upstream to collect muddy water, and through a mud transporting tube, we send it to the downstream for further categorization.
But mud transportation is only the beginning of the process, as categorizations must be done at the downstream. For the categorized items, aggregates are sold as gravel, and mud will be stored at the silt pond waiting for a typhoon day.
The aggregates and sand will be sold to others, whereas the mud will be stored at the silt pond. On a typhoon day, the passage below the tunnel will guide the floodwaters in to remove the mud.
The pond next to me is the silt pond. When it's completed on a typhoon day, it will guide mud waters from the pond to the nearby Dahan River. The pond can store up to 200,000 cubic meters of silt, and when water levels rise, the floodgates will open, flushing the mud into the Dahan River located downstream.
We did experiments based on our model. Our results show that the efficiency of flushing silt is about 80 to 90%.
Experts calculated that Amuping anti-silt tunnel can hold up to 640,000 cubic meters of silt, taking up 20% of the reservoir capacity. But the silt issue has been a problem for quite some time, as early built reservoirs lacked equipment. Now, with experts trying to solve issues, let us hope that reservoirs may continue to serve its purpose.
In Paraguay, Tzu Chi volunteers have carried out food distribution for the local residents while also providing pandemic prevention supplies to the local hospitals. We'll leave you with these images. Thank you and goodbye.